Hey there, everyone. Donna Hoffman here, your interior design advocate and your advocate in all things design. We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, ready to get you inspired and take you under our wing and keep you safe and happy in all things design as you get your home even more beautiful tomorrow than it is today. So last week, I told you that I'd be talking to you today about kitchen design, and I do welcome your live questions. So by all means, definitely get those questions typed into the question box so I can get to those before it's time for me to scooch. And until we have those live questions come in, I would like to just give you guys a bit more clarity on what's involved in a kitchen and even bath renovation, because based upon some of your questions, I can see that the logistics are not always as clear as you might need them to be, so you can make some really good planning decisions. So I'm talking logistics, the process of it all. Next week, I'll talk a little bit about the design and some easy design jumping off points. But let's talk about logistics. Why are kitchens and baths such a huge pain in the neck to renovate in your home? And what can you do to help ease the way a little bit? Well, cost aside, and we all know that it takes a big bite out of the budget when you're renovating a bath or certainly a kitchen. But what you need to know is that it's the downtime when things are disorganized before they are reorganized. That's what absolutely drives clients and homeowners absolutely bonkers. And I'm going to tell you right now that if you are thinking about doing a kitchen or bath renovation, you got to put on your big girl panties, because it is not going to be pleasant. Sure, picking out all the pretty chips and swatches, oh, that's like playing in a candy store. But then the problem is the day that your kitchen group or your builder says, okay, everything has shipped in, we're ready to come in and do the tear out and then the put in. Here's the story. You need to know that cabinetry, semi-custom cabinetry in particular, which is what a lot of you are working with, meaning these boxes are partially done. The door fronts haven't been chosen yet. You go to your cabinet group and decide what you want that door front style to be like and the color. But the box itself has a bottom and three sides plus a door, but there's nothing on top. And that is the pain in the neck for you as the homeowner, because once your existing cabinetry is ripped out, your floor has to be done if it's changed, and then the cabinetry has to be set right on top of that. Well, you can't cook in that. You need a countertop. Well, you can't put on a countertop until all of your plumbing has been moved and all of your appliances have been installed. And only then, once the plumbing has been moved, the appliances have been installed, only then can your countertop go on. Now, your countertop doesn't just show up. Somebody has to come over and measure or template your countertops, and that only happens once the floor is in, the counters are set, the cabinets are set, your plumbing has been moved, your appliances have been put in, and then the counters are measured or templated, and following that, 7 to 10 days later, then the countertops are installed, and then your appliances, which have been sitting in place, are now hooked up. How long does it take for you to have no kitchen? How do you do that? Well, here's what people do while they're anticipating that kitchen going in. And P.S., if you think I left out the backsplash, I didn't. But that splash can go in any time. You can be in a fully functioning kitchen, cooking, entertaining, without even having your backsplash in. That's a cosmetic piece. But those other moving parts that I talked to you about, those all have to be in alignment and in alignment in the right order. So you can't even have your countertop templated if you don't have your faucets and fixtures delivered yet. So everything has to be aligned. The stars need to align. So what do you do from the point in time when your cabinets from the old kitchen are totally ripped out and you still don't have a functional kitchen, which can take 2 to 3 to 4 weeks depending upon the crew and team you have working with you? Well, here's what most people do. An extension cord will be run with your refrigerator, putting it into an adjoining room so that the family has a refrigerator. Usually we do that in a dining room or an adjoining room, like a laundry room if it's big enough, but often it's in the dining room. And sometimes the refrigerator is just left in the middle of this unfinished kitchen, hooked up to a power cord so that the family can get in and out of it to get their food. And then we set up a staging area in that dining room. or adjoining space, usually the dining room because there's a table there. Everything gets covered with a drop cloth because of dust and debris. And in that dining room, you'll have paper plates and paper cups, and you'll have some dry goods, you know, I don't know, crackers and rice cakes and whatever it is that you guys like, and cereal and Pop-Tarts, whatever it is that you can give to the kids quickly in the morning or that you can enjoy. You don't have a working sink, so you'll be using a laundry room sink. Are you getting the gist of what a nuisance this is for a kitchen? Huge nuisance. Now, in the case of a bathroom, you just want to make sure that if you're renovating the master bath, you're using the guest bath for all of your showering needs. So kitchens and bath renovation, particularly in the master, are really disruptive to a home. So what do people try to do to minimize that aggravation? Well, if you live in the East Coast where I practice, a lot of people try to time their kitchen renovations for a time of year when you can use the outdoor grill or barbecue. So that's how you're doing your family meals, and people do end up eating out a lot. So add that in your calculation of total costs. What's it going to cost when the kids are buying their lunch at school more during the kitchen reno, when we're in our downtime, just to make life a little easier? So there are these little things that you can do to make that time, that downtime, a little more palatable, a little bit easier. Do some planning. Think about the time of year when you want to do that kitchen renovation, and please make sure that you hire an amazing crew, because things will go wrong on a kitchen or bath renovation. One of the biggest things that happens, short shipment, misshipment, damaged goods. So let's say your toilet comes in but it's damaged. Well, you've just backed up the whole delivery on your entire master bath. Or worse, what happens if the floor comes in, all the tile comes in, but they short shipped you? Well, you can't even finish doing the floor, so you can't set your toilet. Now you're further behind. So I'd like you to really think about putting on your patience cap and knowing it's going to be a little painful while I'm doing my master bath reno, while I'm doing my kitchen reno, but it's going to be so worth it when it's done. Build in some extra dollars for some ease, like eating out through a kitchen reno. Try to get it timed, like I said, at a time when it works for you. And also, sometimes people will also time some of the renovation for times when they're traveling. That does mean that you need a very trustworthy crew that's coming into your home, and possibly even somebody else, either a professional designer or a family member who's coming in and watching over the crew, you know, unlocking your home in the morning, locking it back up. But by being away for 1 week of a 2 or 3 or 4 week renovation, it can take some of the sting out, okay? So hopefully those little considerations will help you in your wise design thinking and planning on the functional side of a renovation. Okay, so I see some questions are coming in, so let's hit those. Okay, so Elaine wants to know, is there any way other than painting oak cabinets to add a more modern twist to cabinets? Is there any way other than painting oak cabinets to add a more modern twist to cabinets? You know, Elaine, that's such a good question. You know, I'm sorry, I got an itch right here on the outside of my nose. What do you do when you're live on camera and you have an itch? There you go. It's live. What can I tell you? Live and unscripted. So here's the story, Elaine, and I know you're in one of my private groups, so you already know that color is a massive, massive driver in a room. Well, color doesn't just refer to the paint color or the color on that chair. Color refers to all the cabinetry, all the case goods, the wood furniture in a room. So if you are struggling with that oak cabinetry, no amount of Band-Aids in the world will make you like that more or quote, quote, modernize it more. It's a big one. Now, can you do things like changing up your light fixtures? Sure. Can you change up your hardware? Why not? You can throw as many Band-Aids in and around that room. Hardware is great jewelry. Light fixtures are stupendous. Change your paint color. Update your furniture in the room. All helpful. But if you are really struggling with that paint or the color of that cabinetry, Elaine, and redoing all of it is not in the cards, maybe you can consider at least doing a new island with a complementary countertop and doing all those other changes that I suggested. And then you might find that the perimeter cabinetry in that oak with other new elements that are bringing the room forward, maybe that would help you as well. But I know kitchens are a bugaboo. They are costly, and it's like pulling a thread, right? And what you really want to do is throw out the whole thing and bring in a whole new paradigm. And sometimes budget, the B word, gets in the way. So hopefully, Elaine, that helps you there. Let's see. Shaylee wants to know, what are the general rules for treating tray ceilings in a room with a 10 to 12 feet walls? Shaylee, what are the general rules for treating tray ceilings in a room with, do you mean 10 to 12 foot high walls before you hit to your tray? You know, I was just standing on a construction site today talking to Katie about this very thing. We're doing grass cloth in this gorgeous master bedroom, and in one portion of the master, there's a really interesting tray. Well, here's the thing. On a tray, so here are your walls, and then on your tray you have something called the flat, and then you have your rise, right? Sometimes you can take your wall color and wrap it into the flat, and then the whole rise is done in a ceiling color. Or you can take your wall color, stop it at the flat, then you go to the rise, and then at the very center of the square of the tray, then you can do an accent color or just slightly deepening the color. There are a couple of different ways that you can handle it. What I want you to ask yourself, Shaylee, is why? Why am I doing this? Do I need to do this? I have done trays where I have done nothing to them, and I have just let the wall color, excuse me, the ceiling color be the ceiling color on the tray. I've done trays where I've done a center color in that tray. I wanted to create a sunnier feeling in a dark bedroom, so a little shimmer of a little bit of a pale yellow was perfect for us. Working on something now, we might do a wallpaper in a low tray that has a little bit of shimmer again in a dark apartment for an in-law suite. So ask yourself why you're doing things, Shaylee. Don't just do things randomly because you saw it done someplace. Ask yourself, what's the benefit? Where am I driving the eye? Why am I making this choice? And hopefully that'll help you. And if you have a follow-up question, feel free to ask it. Linda wants to know, what do you recommend for the depth of an island where when there's a sink in it, I have plenty of space as this is an open floor plan? All right, Linda, so here's the story. Cabinetry, semi-custom cabinetry or custom cabinetry, base cabinets are built to a 24-inch depth, okay? So your counter on an island hangs beyond that because you might have seating at that island, and then you have to have some supports, right? So you're going to determine your island depth, Linda, based upon what you've described. You want to know, what's my allowable pass-through space around my island? I don't want you to worry. You don't have to worry about what your clearance is around that sink. You've got room for a big island. But, you know, are you doing a standing island, meaning no room for stools? We won't have enough pass-through space behind. Or am I doing a sitting island? So I do have pass-through space. And what kind of sitting island are you doing? Are you doing backless stools that will just push all the way under your island? Are you going to do something with the back but no arms so it will push well into the island? Or are you doing something with arms that will sit further back from the island? You need to be aware of all that so you know what your clearance is around. I hope you're working with an excellent kitchen group or builder or interior designer, but a kitchen group or builder will do it for you. And I love to be able to preserve, if possible, behind the backs of the stools, I like to preserve 42 inches if I can. National Kitchen and Bath Association says you can preserve 36 inches, 3 feet, but I'll tell you what, 3.5 feet going to that 42 inches makes a huge amount of difference. Oh my goodness. So if you can do it, preserve that. And hopefully that answers your question as well, Linda. Okie dokie. I think I have, okay, Linda McCone wants to know, I'm building an open concept house considering wood floors throughout, including the kitchen. What do you think of wood floors in the kitchen? I love them. I love them. I think they're great underfoot. Well, in the old days, before I started my design company, I used to love to cook, used to love to bake, used to love to entertain. Now I do it when I have the time and energy, which is not so often. But I love the feeling of, and Steve and I still cook quite a bit together, even with our kids off in college. I love the softness under your knees, and I don't have a very good low back. So I love the feeling of wood on a low back. Here's the story though, Linda McCone. Wood does not like water. You have a leaky dishwasher? Nightmare. So if you do have wood, I know I'm not supposed to endorse products, but Miele has a good, really nice dishwasher that it has a tray at the bottom that really helps with flooding and overflow. It's a little smaller than interior-wise than some of the other dishwashers, but if you do wood floors, I do like that product in there. And just make sure that your guys or gals who install your wood floor say, listen, leave me a little extra wood and store it well, dry, flat area, maybe in your garage or your basement if you live in a home that has a basement. So if you ever had to do any sort of repair to your wood floor, it's so nice to have a couple of boards laying around. So that's what I think about wood floors. Love them in a kitchen. Really think it's a great look, and it feels great on your body too. Okay, Karen wants to know, when having a large expanse of hardwood floor in a kitchen that's open to a dining room, is it ever okay to add an area rug for interest? Oh, for interest only, but not to designate a zone? I don't love it, Karen. I'd like to see what you're talking about. I mean, people do runners, but just to do like a large area rug that just sort of fills between the open space between a kitchen and another room, Karen, I think there's a better solution, and I think the solution is going to have to do with doing something fantastic in that other room and something fantastic. And I know it's open concept that you're describing most likely. Maybe you said it was open concept. There's something gorgeous that you can do in both of those spaces to create the weight that you need so that you don't feel like you need to do something on the floor. And if there is room and space, maybe it's about some great artwork that is on a wall that adjoins those spaces. You know me, go big or go bold with that artwork. So maybe that's how you do something really wonderful there. So that, without seeing pictures, Karen, of what you're describing, those are my earliest thoughts. Okay, let's see. Paula Johns Bryce wants to know, I have seen that people are painting furniture with chalk paint. Is it something, and it's something new to me. I am wondering if there is something, if it's something that's trending or if it's something that's going out. Oh, phew. I thought you were going to ask me how to do that, Paula. And if you've spent any time with me, you know that I own a glue gun and still don't know how to use it. My children are aces with it, but it wasn't me. So I don't make it, I design it. Here's a story with chalk paint. Farmhouse continues to trend big, trend hard, trend heavy, farmhouse glam, rustic glam. So by all means, those chalk paints are wonderful devices in support of those kinds of interiors. So if that's something that you're loving, by all means, you know, go for it and do it. Katie, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you remember the name? Somebody in one of our private groups mentioned a great chalk paint that they loved. I don't remember what it was. Do you remember it? Nope. Katie doesn't know how to use a glue gun either. Do you know how to? She probably does. She's great with a glue gun. Well, anyway, maybe somebody can put into the comments section whatever that chalk paint was that people have been raving about as being kind of the great go-to chalk paint product right now. So yes, I bless it if that's right for the look that you're going for, but I can't tell you what product to use. So hopefully that helps you as well. Okie dokie. Lori Jarrett Lewis wants to know, I have white tile in my sunroom off of my kitchen. Can I use a different color tile in my kitchen as long as there is a threshold to separate the two? I have white tile in my sunroom off my kitchen. Can I use a different color tile? You know, Lori, I'd love to see a picture of all this. Oh, shoot, my nose is still itching me. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe I'm allergic to the warm weather that suddenly is springing here on the East Coast. Lori, I'd want to see a picture of what you're talking about. I don't love a million different floors on the first floor of a home only because you have paid for all that square footage. Whether you're renting, whether you're paying a mortgage, or whether you paid, you know, outright cash because you're a trust fund baby. You paid for that square footage. And the more you chop up that flooring, the more you start to break up that square footage and your home starts to look smaller and smaller. Now that said, it's okay to have flooring differences. You may not want a white tile in your kitchen. It's going to show absolutely everything. So yes, in theory, I'm fine with there being a transition to a new flooring. I just did a beautiful conservatory with my team and I should say, did it. And totally different flooring in the conservatory. It was a slate tile versus wood elsewhere, so you can do it. I would just be mindful of how many other floorings choices you are switching to elsewhere in your home, especially if you're thinking of selling anytime in the next, 7 to 10 years. Buyers want square footage. They want the feeling of maximizing square footage. So just watch how many different flooring choices you put into a room. Hopefully that helps answer you there as well. Okie dokie. I'm getting the note. That's almost like that cut from Katie. Time for 2 final questions. Katie, we have to just get you that big stick. You know, you just shut down and get off. Okay, time for 2 more questions. Oh, Stacy Mullins is saying Annie Sloan chalk paint. That's it. I knew it would sound familiar when I heard it. And Teresa's saying the same thing. Okay, so Shaylee wants to know, thank you, Donna, for answering my question about tray ceilings and for the many ideas you're sharing with us in your weekly videos, as well as through the Design CPR and Decorating Genius System modules. Much appreciated. Shaylee, thank you for the thank you, and thank you. Hug and a kiss to you. Linda says, I have 3 backless stools. Island has panels on sides and is now 3 feet deep. Okay, you have 3 backless stools. So Linda brings up a great point. How much overhang do you really need? Linda didn't even know she's bringing this up, but this is what we're really talking about here. Linda's Island, right? You've got 24 inches of cabinet, and she's saying she has another 12 inches of overhang. Now, there's this thing you need to leave room for when you sit down, and it's called your knees and your legs. And the taller your bar height is, or counter height is, you need more or less of that overhang. So minimum overhang is 10 inches. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a comfortable sit. When I say overhang, I mean, all right, say this is the edge of your counter, right? No, this is the edge of your, I'll do it this way. This is the edge of your cabinet, and then you have a little bit of overhang for your counter. I'm talking about sitting down and having room for your legs underneath that piece of overhang. Minimum 10 inches. 12 to 15 inches is more comfortable. If you can get closer to that 15, awesome. If you're a little scooched for space, you can always think of doing a little bit of a radius so that you're not out as far on the sides as you are in the interior. But I think you should be okay, Linda, with what you're describing as in terms of your overhang. And I like that you have your backless stools so those can tuck away nicely as well. And let's see. Any other questions? We have time for one more question. I'm just reading through comments. People are saying they're going to give Annie Sloan a try. That's good. Elaine is saying, FYI, if you're a lower back, try an inversion table. Okie dokie. I'm just going to say, why not? I'll do an inversion table. I'll do weekly massage. I'll do daily massage. Why not? All right, my lovelies. Well, it looks like we're out of time, and it looks like we got to all of our, there's one more question. Wendy snuck it in. What is good to use on chairs? Wendy, super duper general question. I'm going to say fabric is good to use on chairs. I don't know what you're talking about in terms of color, type of fabric. So that's kind of a general question, and we're out of time. So why don't you join me back next week for our Tuesday, 4 p.m. Q&A, little mini workshop. You can post that question first up, Wendy, and be a little more specific in what you're looking for, and we'll take you and answer you then. And next week, I'm going to continue and finalize the kitchen talk, where we talked about the logistics of the suffering and the pain of your kitchen or bath reno. Next week, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some things you can do to ease your way into your creative on your kitchen and your bath. Okay, my lovelies, it was great seeing you as ever. When you want to be gorgeous in that home design, remember to be bold, to be brilliant, but above all, be wise.